And our last article today, which I loved, came from
Love.
Very Well Health. And the title of the article is How to Help an Autistic Child Build Artistic Skills. Woo! Just love this. It's an extensive article, but one of the things that I love about it is that it talks about why including your child in the arts is going to help them with things like focus, with things like anxiety, all those things that we just talked about that you might be afraid of. And both of us, I think, can speak to this effectively. But Nancy, oh my goodness, I certainly thought of Wyatt the minute I saw this, and I was so happy you sent over some wonderful artifacts that if Traven can bring up for us. But talk to us about what art has meant in Wyatt's life.
Okay, well, as this article says, it can enhance inclusion, self-confidence, and communication. And in the case of my son, Wyatt, who is now 19, he very early, there's Wyatt in a t-shirt that he designed, courtesy of Shannon, who turned us on to this amazing website called Le Galeriste. And we took one of his paintings, sent it in to them, and it was made into a beautiful t-shirt. And people are stopping him on the street and in class and at church saying, where do I get one of those? Which is just so exciting. So that's—
Traven, can you full screen it? Because I think it is literally a work of art. Look at that, you guys. It's absolutely stunning. It's just so beautiful.
If you see that in the background, there is his art studio, which he has commandeered a part of the kitchen and made that into his art studio, where he paints every morning and every night. Somebody just wrote in, cool. Thank you, Lisa.
Absolutely.
It just has, art has been such an escape for him and a reward for him. I want to encourage parents, if they do see artistic ability in their kids. I think there's another photo I sent in of Wyatt when he was much younger. I don't know whether Trayvon can find that, of him painting.
It was in the second email that I sent you, Traven.
He liked to swim as a child with water. So putting a paintbrush in his hand, he allowed him to take that repetitive behavior and do something functional with it, which was just, it just developed on its own, quite frankly. So if your child does have a lot of activity like this, you might try that, putting a marker in their hand or a paintbrush in their hand. And what we found, Wyatt is in inclusive classes, has been in high school with typical kids, neurotypical kids, and competes on the same level, wins art awards. He won a major award about 5 years ago from the state PTA Reflections. There it is. That's it's like a sculpture. What we did was we took an old wine carton. He found the wine carton and he painted the wine carton on both sides. And we called it The Colors of My Mind. And he won he was recognized for that statewide in the Reflections contest. And we went up to San Jose and he was on stage and presented an award, which was just, I have to say, such a thrill and so great for him. I can't even express my gratitude at what this has given him and his self-confidence. And we intend on nurturing this skill for a lifetime. We're in the process right now putting together a website for his art. And we, in the garage, you would hate to see my garage, because what Wyatt does is he paints cartons he obsessively paints cartons. So I call him an eco artist, because he takes recycled cartons like this wine carton and paints them and turns them into work of arts. And what I'm going to do is put them together on giant boards and make big collages out of them. In my spare time, I'm going to do that. That's on my to-do list. So,
well, we've been saying forever we need to do an installation piece with Wyatt's work. I have 2 pieces of Wyatt's work hanging in my office, which I haven't seen in over a year. But What I love, and somewhere, Traven, you've got a picture. Look at
There's a
that.
cross that
Look,
he made
look
out
at
of
that.
those are Starbucks cartons that we wired together and put out in the yard for Easter.
I mean, it's just stunning. It's just absolutely stunning. And his use of color, there's so many things I could say about this, but I love somewhere you've got in there, Traven, a picture of him when he is just, I mean, he's knee high to a grasshopper. He's a baby and he's in this oversized,
That's
look at
another one of
that.
his. That's another one of his paintings. That's the montage that he did for the reflections contest, taken a photograph of. So you see these translates into amazing pieces of art that you can photograph, and you could use that as a print, for example.
I want that on a scarf on that thing
We
when you
have
make
it on
it.
the scarf on the Le Galeriste website.
I'm getting one
Okay.
because it's absolutely, I mean, look at that. It is just so beautiful and it's so evocative and it makes me happy. So, but I love there's a picture of him, Traven, where he is just a baby and we've got
There
video.
he
Look at
is.
him. And he's painting because this is in his soul. First of all, you can't name a child Wyatt Jackson and not expect a painter. I'm sorry. Like, come on. Is that like the name? I can picture the wing of the museum, the Wyatt Jackson
Oh,
artwork
Shannon,
museum,
from your
right?
lips to God ears. We call it Wyart, Wyart by Wyatt.
He's just and look, you know how you know that this is what is in his soul is that this is what he wants to do. If you give him 5 minutes, he wants to paint. And you know, we don't do it as much anymore, but you and I used to talk pretty much every single day and I would after dinner and we would talk on the phone and one of my favorite things, Nancy, would be that you guys would do this dance together. So you'd be on the phone with me and Wyatt does colors of studies before he'll paint. So it's like, you know, the person who does all of the exercises on the piano before they sit down and play the concerto. He does these studies of colors and he'll ask you, you know, he'll paint a color and then he'll change the shade slightly and he'll ask you to name the color and you'll be on the phone talking to me or whoever and then you guys do this. He'll say, Mom, what color is this? And you say, I don't know, that's kind of a robin's egg blue. And then, you know, you'll talk some more and then he'll go, okay, and he changes the color. He goes, what color do you think this is? You say, that's more of a cornflower blue. And you guys go through this dance together that is absolutely beautiful. And
Which in itself was a sort of perseveration that we thought, well, is this good? That he keeps asking me, what color is this? What color is this? What color is this?
but I think it's the dance that you guys do. I mean, we all have different things that we do as parents, and it's uniquely the two of you. And I tell you, Nancy, I tell you all the time that I think you're a wonderful mother.
Oh,
And
thank you,
look,
Shannon.
I know that all of us on the spectrum, somebody tells us we're a mother, and what's the first thing we think? All the things we're not good at, and all the moments where we weren't winning the award, and the moment when we lost our temper, or something happened in public, and you're like, oh, everybody must think I'm a terrible parent. But the truth of the matter is that it's the quiet moments at home when nobody's looking that we are the best parents that we are. And I'm telling you, it's been a privilege to see that dance that you do with Wyatt when, you know, those are the moments when you are parenting, you're feeding his soul. And he's a brilliant painter in part because of that, because you're such an amazing mom. So, you know, but look at all the things that it has done for him. It is a way that he communicates to the world. And one of the things that this article tells us is that when we allow kids to do art, art allows you to communicate in ways that aren't vocal. That you can dance what you're feeling, you can dance what you want, you can paint what you see, you can write things. You know, I'm seeing that now with my son that he can write things that he can't say.
Right.
And it's beautiful. So giving our kids the chance, the opportunity to find the artist within, and
It's
to
so
see.
important. I want to bring up, I see a comment from a parent that says, it's Lisa May. She said, that's great. My son paints, but prefers to dump paint, can be expensive. But let me just say, I know you probably don't have a giant art studio at home, but maybe you could go outside and let him dump some paint on a big canvas and you might be astounded at the work of art that comes out of that. There's a young man named Nicholas Contaxis who is on the autism spectrum. Nicholas had severe seizure and has severe seizure disorder. His mother, Chris Ann, is an artist. She wisely put him in her art studio, noticing he loved to find different colors of paint and take a big trowel and use that trowel to paint with. His artwork is selling. I don't even want to tell you what it's selling for. I mean, we're talking, I think he's had pieces sell in 6 figures.
Yeah. And for big, because they're such big pieces of work, they go in big office buildings, big hospitals, big. I would say to that mom, because I hear the part about it can be expensive with the paint, but where there's a will, there's a way. I remember when Nancy was like, my gosh, you know, Wyatt can do 3 canvases in a day and not even blink, and canvases are expensive. And then all of a sudden you started doing the Starbucks things, and it's unique to him, and
Right.
everybody wants a Starbucks, and it's not costing her a fortune. So what I would tell you to do, Lisa May, is that go to your local Home Depot or your local Lowe's or whatever paint store, the Sherwin-Williams store, and go to them and say, I know that people turn in leftover paint in cans to you for you to dispose of, because, you know, paint is something you can't just throw away, and say, I've got a kid on the spectrum and he likes to do huge works of art painting. Can I get your leftover paint? And if they won't give it to you, there's recycling centers that have to recycle, and it's this whole big thing with the leftover paint. I'm thinking that there's a way that you can get all the paint that you want and not have it cost you a penny.
Yeah, Christina Mills said her older son was into art and created beautiful lawn art. So very interesting. I'd love to see some of that lawn art, Christina. There's different types of art you can create. So try to maybe, you know, it might be a wonderful accident that you find, an accident of genius that you found a way your child can excel in this.
And it's not all, you know, I got to be honest that it's one of those things where you gotta throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. Not everybody's an artist, not because some kids, you know, will do it for 5 minutes and then they move on to the next thing. But other kids want to sing, and other kids want to dance, and other kids want to act, play the piano.
Right.
You know, I used to love it. I'm sure that soon they'll come back with this, but in Pasadena, they used to do this thing once a month where the orchestra, the Pasadena Orchestra, had a musical petting zoo. And the first time that we went to it, I was like, what's a musical petting zoo? But basically what they did was they laid out every instrument in the orchestra out on tables with the musician standing behind it, and children could stand in line, and believe me, we had trouble standing in line, so they would allow one of us to stand in line and my son would be off to the side. And then the child, when it was their turn and they got to the front and they were disinfecting everything between, even before the pandemic, the child got to try the instrument. And I'm telling you, it was just so amazing, because you would see in real time that, you know, maybe your kid was not into the tuba, but the violin, they didn't want to leave that one. It's just one of those, because otherwise, when would you get the opportunity to have your child try out 32 instruments?
Exactly.
So looking for those kinds of things, or people that you know that are artists, like ask if they can make a video, or, you know, do a Zoom call with your child to show your child something. You're just throwing things out there. I think of Spencer Hart, who, you know, was speaking only limitedly. And then one day her mother just happened to have the PBS channel on, and it was playing the Phantom of the Opera, the recording of the Broadway version of it. And she was in the other room doing her hair and makeup, and her daughter, it was just on. And then she heard her daughter sing to the Phantom of the Opera and came out and went, "What's happening?" And her daughter could sing. And Spencer tells you now, and Spencer has sung all over the world, has sung
all
at the White House.
In front of the United Nations, at the White House. I mean, you name it, she's been there now.
And she's so talented. And
she just recently got a feature film role.
Yes, which is amazing. We can't wait till that comes out. And she's right now featured in Boys Don't Wear Dresses, which if you haven't seen, you need to see. But Spencer will tell you, she says, when I sing, the autism goes away. And, it just moves to the side. And she has this clear channel to sing. So don't be afraid. I think our lesson for today from our news today is don't be afraid to feed your child's passion, and don't be afraid to try the arts to see if their passion is there.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.